Students, today we are going to discuss about a case study on network security issues. Okay, and this we are going to discuss about three case studies on network security issues. Okay. Mm, here first to exercise deals with the security planning. It includes classifying data and allocating controls. And the third one, it requires more extensive TCP knowledge, since the exercise includes evaluating computer powered sequence but with interesting facts. Okay. Here we know that the internet has changed crime in a huge way. No longer does a bank robber even need to be in the same country to rob a bank or financial institution. They can crack an unprotected website from the comfort of their own home. We know that no gun or physical presence is needed to rob a store. Simply monitoring a poorly equipped store's WLAN can provide many critical numbers. It is hard to safeguard our computer or prosecute criminals when the criminal is in another country, possibly attacking through botnets. Here, the Health First case study provides students a foundation on how to protect network securely. Okay, here three case study exercises are useful in providing a foundation in network security. All three includes designing information security, network security issues, planning for network security, and using a protocol analyzer. And thus, the first one is designing information security. Here, it classifies information by confidentiality and criticality. Planning for network security, it includes, determines services, connection establishment directions, security clarifications, and access control, and also builds a colorful network diagram for security. Okay. Here, using a protocol analyzer, analyzes a protocol sequence generated upon laptop power up to determine which services, connections, and ports that are used in. Okay. Here, the first case study is designing information security. This is a prerequisite exercise for the next two case studies. Here, understanding an organization's data is the first step to securing their network. Data will have a different confidentiality and reliability requirements. An organization must define different classes of data and how each class is to be handled. They must also define access permissions for the various roles in the organizations. We know that very well. And the first one we have taken is Health First case study. Here we consider criticality and sensitivity classification. Here in systems for a doctor's office, what different classes of information should exist for sensitivity or confidentiality and criticality or reliability for a doctor's office? How should each sensitivity classification be handled in labeling, paper and disk storage, access, archive, transmission and disposal? By reading a conversation from a small doctor's office, we make these decisions and enter them into tables in the small business security workbook. Okay, then we can review a requirements document to determine which roles should have access to which formats or data records. Okay, once the organization's applications and permitted access is understood, the network security can easily be addressed. Okay, second one is planning for network security. Here, the network security requires first identifying the services used within the network and allocating services to virtual or physical computers based on their criticality, sensitivity classification, and role-based access model. Okay, in this continuation of the doctor's office case study, we have to complete various tables to determine required services and appropriate controls. The first step determines which services are allowed to enter and leave the network and in which directions connections normally originate. This information is important in configuring the firewalls. The second step considers which applications can be stored together on physical or virtual machines. Based on the access control, who can access what? Remember that? Who can access what? And the criticality classification. Based on the criticality classification, students then define the required controls for each service. For example, encryption, hashing, antivirus, like that. Firewalls need to protect the organization's data from both the internet and wireless access. Okay. And finally, we have to draw a network map with the Microsoft Visio and color code the different systems according to their sensitivity and classification. Here, it shows network map where the red lines indicate confidential information and the yellow private information and green public information. A red line indicate VPN protection. Okay. And that we know that using a protocol analyzer, if we want to protect a network, they must be able to understand a protocol analyzer dump. Understanding protocols is essential to recognizing attack traffic and programming a firewall or any intrusion detection or prevention system, IDS or IPS. For example, which ports should remain open in a firewall and in which direction do connections normally occur. Sometimes this is not easily known but must be determined by monitoring the normal traffic. In this case study, lab students evaluate a protocol analyzer dump from WinDump that includes a computer power-up sequence. The computer is not new, could have a worm. So the purpose of the lab is to determine required ports for the firewall, but also to see if there are unusable transmissions during the power-up sequence. WinDump is used instead of Wireshark, because WinDump generates a smaller dump that can easily be printed for our user-defined applications. Okay, in thus we have to yeah, and thus yeah, and thus we have to evaluate a protocol analyzer dump, and also we have to sift through TCP packets to determine if any connections look suspicious. We have to practice recognizing TCP synchronization packets and the domain name server DNS packets that precede them to determine where the connections are being made. And also we can allow students or people to evaluate how much data is being sent and received, which requires understanding TCP sequence numbers. The interesting thing about this happens for a couple of connections. The computer is uploading more information to the network than it's downloading, and the destination is and we have a destination at hackers point. Okay, and for this thus makes our people and students or to practice their trade for their real world careers by planning for security, by analyzing a protocol dump for a realistic application. In the security planning exercise, actually get to experience working as an interdisciplinary group, including a doctor, registered dietitian, and medical administrator. This enables to understand a non-technical business perspective. Thus, protocol dump gives students confidence that they could analyze a security protocol dump on their own if they need to, or use the protocol analyzer for debugging a non-security related communications problem. Okay, and finally, at concluding point, we identified for network security issues. We have designing information security, planning for network security, and using a protocol analyzer for making network security in a high level, that is in a productive level. Okay, designing information security, we know that it includes classifies information by confidentiality and criticality. Based on that, we have to design information security. Second one is planning for network security. It determines services, connection establishment directions, security classifications, and access control, and builds a colorful network diagram for security. Okay, third one is using a protocol analyzer. Analyze a protocol sequence generated upon laptop power up or to determine which services, connections, and ports are used there. Okay. Here we know that the internet has changed crime in a huge way. We have to protect our network, or we have to establish firewalls or any intrusion detection systems for safety purpose. Okay, we need to save our data because the internet has changed a lot. Thank you.